You better have seasoning, aye. Got the way that you look, man, I know it ain't no easy thing, aye. My sauce and my mix and blend, we are seasoning, aye.
So people, sorry, we've been talking, we've been getting comfortable, but obviously it's all for content for you. Welcome to an all-purpose seasoning podcast. I go by the name of Marlz.
Welcome, my name's Jay, JFXJ.
And I go by the name of Sunni.
And I'm Leo.
And let's continue.
Raps, yeah. So, like I was saying, like what you've been saying about it being therapy, like when I go play five-a-side on like a Tuesday and a Thursday, whatever.
Yeah.
That's my therapy.
That's your outlet.
Do you know what I mean? That's like I don't have to think about. I don't have to think about business.
Work.
I don't think about anything. I don't worry about invoices.
Just kicking ball.
I'm gonna know that for that hour and a bit, I'm gonna go there, lace up my boots, and just.
Is that therapy though?
I was just
for
going
me,
to say that.
For me,
But what I was going to say...
It's subjective.
yeah, for me, it's not.
What I was going to say...
It
What I was going to say...
I mean, I work out a lot of aggression on that pitch. You do it.
It's
You get
true.
through it.
That's
It's
not
true.
therapy.
But what I was going to say...
Meditation, prayer. Sorry, go on.
What I was going to say was there's a difference between therapy and switching off and relaxation. Get me? Therapy...
Yeah, no, you're right.
Like
Yeah.
from this is
you're
why
right.
I said it's a great comparison, but what you said, what he said, led me to really deep the thing, because in a therapeutic session, or when you're going through therapy, you're going deep. Do you know what I mean? From what I've heard and people have told me, you go into some places you've never been before. Going football, podcast, them kind of things, it's a relaxing
It's an outlet, but
thing. You can get out, but we're not really going to talk about...
But now,
Deep stuff. No,
we might touch certain traumatic
Why not?
things. It's true. You're right. We still can. And there are elements of a podcast that could be therapeutic. But I think there is a difference between the actual therapy session and this being therapy, because it is to a degree.
I think you're right, but I think then it comes to, can you get enough out of that for it to be therapeutic? Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, maybe just to get through it, you don't have to go, I don't know, I'm not professional, maybe you don't have to go that deep into it. Maybe you just need to touch on it, that you've told, I've said my piece. I don't need to tell you exactly what's happened, how it's happened, why it's happened, just, you're Marlon or Leo or Jay, this is what's happened, this is how I feel.
But you know, you're defining. Now you're taking levels of deepness to define what constitutes for therapy, because therapy can be a person just voicing a concern.
That's what I'm saying.
Therapy can be admitting an issue. You don't necessarily even have to deal with it. So let's say, for example, I don't know, I don't like long distance driving. Maybe I've had a traumatic accident however many years ago, and I've never said it. Maybe on a podcast we're having a conversation. This never happened, but
it comes
I'm
out.
saying maybe I say, do you know what, guys, coming up here to do this recording and do all this stuff, it was a bit mad
Tough.
to me.
Like
it was a big step, and getting here is a bit of a mad one. Like, I feel kind of proud of myself. To me, that's therapy. That's therapy, because more time out of 10, it's then for anybody around the table to delve in and me to delve into whatever it is that I feel I might want to disclose.
But you know what I feel like? I feel like when you say therapy, people immediately picture a therapist in the chair.
Sit on the thing.
That's because in movies and in the Simpsons and all that, that's what we're led to believe. But therapy, to me, you could be on the phone and have a conversation with someone, and that could be, let's say, all right, let's talk about COVID, because obviously right now there's a lot of jobs at risk and whatever. If someone's got a business, for example, had a business for 5 years, COVID hits, no more business, but you've been struggling for a year, that to them is their baby. You lost your baby. So then you speak to someone and they're just like, okay, cool, talk to me about what you're struggling with, and then you go, like you said, go through the process, and you kind of, I guess, go through the intricacies of what the issue is, and hopefully how to deal with it and overcome it.
So you could say that therapy, the cause and the use of therapy is to deal with something, but then there's other elements that can help you highlight things. If that makes sense.
What do you mean?
It's also a conversation. Like, if you've seen Suits before, and what's my guy's name? The big funny one.
Lewis.
What, the partner?
Lewis. He's got a therapy, and his therapy is, I think he's German or whatever. But the therapy, he goes in and he hugs a pillow and he just talks about his day, talks about his relationship with Harvey and whatever else. But those conversations he's having are very light, somewhat funny, but they're very light. But the issues behind
that's for comedic.
No. But what I'm saying, the point I'm going to make is the issues that he's talking about. Whether it's I had a bad day with Harvey because he did this, the therapist would then say, "Why do you think that is?" And then that's where you go into depth with it. Do you know what I mean? That to me is what therapy is, rather than just sitting in the room.
This is going to sound mad.
That's what I said.
It's going to sound mad. It doesn't mean to, but say for example, like, okay, Arsenal lose, I get worked up, like I'm baked, like
the other day.
But then I'll listen to like Arsenal podcast or AFTV, whatever, and I'll hear other people talking about it who feel the same as me, and it makes me kind of feel, I'm not the only one that feels like this. You get me? But sometimes I'll watch it and I'll be like, bro, like this windows, this telly's gonna go out the window, and I mean, like, is that bad? But then listening to that, I think, well, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this. You get me? We're all going through it together.
The thing is, I even heard something yesterday actually on the radio. Yeah, it was saying, what's the girl's name from like Little Mix? Sorry,
I don't
remember her name, but there's a girl from Little Mix who's had a lot of like issues on social media and bullying, cyberbullying, and whatever else, and she decided to leave because of her mental health.
I catch that.
So my thing with that is that you hear that on the radio. And you're like, oh, another celebrity's left their really like lavish lifestyle. Yeah. But it's an individual, it's a person.
Of course, man, human in the day.
For me, it's like, how do you determine if it's me and I've got mental health issues, whatever that is? I'm thinking whatever my mental health issue is, I'm the only one going through it. Until you speak to someone or to a group of people and they say, actually, nah, that happened to me last year. That happened to me last week.
The question is though, this takes us almost. It's a segue, but it kind of takes my thought process somewhere else, which is that dangerous? Because
what's that?
You know how you get the
thinking you're the only one?
No, the grouping of it being all together. So misery loves company, right? Everybody knows. Everybody knows that phrase, and I'm not saying necessarily that you get somebody with the same thought process as you, and it's a bad thing. But in some contexts, I'm basically trying to allude to the fact that. Can that be a dangerous thing where you get multiple people who are talking about something and struggles that they have, and almost getting stuck in that struggle? Can that be a dangerous thing? Because more time out of 10, if you let's use that same example of the Arsenal fan TV, it's almost an excuse to rant about something that is negative. So it's almost like you're feeding your mindset. You're absorbing that bad negative energy.
I think that's a matter of perspective, because there's also power in being relatable to somebody else. There's empathy in
100%.
So it all depends on the perspective of
whoever
the people
it is
around.
that's receiving.
Because if you can speak to somebody about something you've gone through and they can relate to it, that's an instant connection. And then from that, you're releasing it.
A connection?
Yeah, because trauma connects people.
So I think as well, like,
on
what you were saying as well, it's like, if like them kind of things, like with your football team losing whatever, that's very reactionary. It's just that moment.
It's emotional.
But some people's is built up over time. It's like one setback. I get through it a bit, another setback. I get through it a bit, but then another setback. So like when I say that's my therapy listen, that's because I'm dealing with it all in the space of 2 hours. I watch the game hour and a half. Watch whatever it is for half an hour. Everything gets said. Wake up in the morning. Oh, it's not that bad. I'm going to carry on with my life. But some people, it says setback after setback after setback after. It's like
it's tough,
real life issues. I mean, even though I love football, like it's not going to stop my income. You know what I mean? It's not going to stop me paying my bills.
But off the back of what Leo was saying about how misery loves company and that, I think it does. But when somebody is around that amount of people going through the same amount of things, once you've let it out, there's nothing else left to let out. The only other thing is to deal with it and move on.
However, so on that point, so let's say there's 4 of us here now and we're talking about breakups. We've all been in long-term relationships and we all break up. So we're all sitting here single now and been through a heartbreaking experience.
Yeah.
Us talking about our experiences, at what point does someone contribute something to that conversation that makes it a positive conversation?
I would, because that's my nature.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, because you've just been through a heartbreak, are you going to be able to do that?
100%. I went through that this year. And I had to stay positive. Because I could feel the weight of the loss. And I felt 100%, and I felt that. And I had to go through that. Life didn't stop tomorrow for me.
You can't.
Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah, so because of that, I had to self-motivate myself
self-heal
through the thing while I'm healing, while I'm growing, while I'm maturing. So I still got to go work tomorrow.
All right, so on that, so do you think that it's possible to heal, and I'm still staying in the context of therapy here, can you heal whilst life is still going on?
You have to. I don't think it's whether you can.
Sometimes you need a time out, but you have to.
Do you think carrying on with life is a way to heal?
100%.
It will help.
I think personally.
Because the distraction can help.
What you're describing is routine, and allowing routine to take your mind away from whatever it is that you're dealing with at that particular moment. Yes, 100% it can help. But I think going back to the original question, it's about talking about the misery loves company.
Yeah.
And once you get that out, then there's nowhere else for it to go. There is, because it's actually about dealing with whatever it is you've experienced. You can say something, and you can put it out into the universe and say, right, this is what my experience has been, and it hurt, or it affected me in this kind of way. But what are you going to now do about it? Because plenty of people go through certain things, but then But what's keeping?
You should.
Yeah, but then that depends on where who you're speaking to.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, when it comes down to dealing with emotional trauma, right? Mm-hmm. You can keep moving, but then what in essence you're doing is sweeping something under the rug. So then you come across another situation, and then really you come back to what Sunny's saying is setback after setback. Now you feel like, oh shit, I've just dealt with this, and now I've got something else that's come. But cause the reason why, because you ain't dealt with already what.
I think that's me. I actually think that's me. But the reason I say that, sorry, go on.
From that, yeah, I hear you. You're right, but once you've gone through them kind of things, you can't deal with things in one day.
I'm not saying that.
I'm knowing that's not what you're saying.
I'm saying it's about making conscious decisions to address your problem.
100% agree, and that takes time.
100%.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so because it takes time, you can have trauma on a Monday, go work on Tuesday, something else happen to you on Wednesday. Yeah, you can't control the time of when things happen. So
it is how you
have to allocate 100%. You have to allocate time,
like the saying goes,
in your day, to break it down, absorb it,
but
deep it,
I'll
and
give
then
you a
try
prime
and come
example
forward.
of what you were saying and the build up of it. So obviously this year's been mad for everyone, so I'm not gonna like get the little violin out or anything, but obviously I've dealt with a few things in the last probably 14 months, yeah. But then the stuff that has happened, like you were saying, I'm the type of person where I won't put it under the rug, but I deal with things mentally. So it's all internal, intrinsic, whatever the word is. So there's no outlet for me really, like apart from like the gym or boxing or whatever. But other than that, because of COVID, there ain't been no gym. So then what's your outlet? So yesterday, when I told you the story yesterday, I don't go from 0 to 100 often, innit? But when it happens, like, I reflect and be like, right, why did that happen? So yesterday, I got home, I was like...
For the record, Marlz had to
No.
That's where you went bare chest and everything.
A bit of road rage.
Back off the coat.
No. I really had to slip it,
you know?
You had to regulate something.
I had to regulate like Warren G, bro.
Sometimes you got to regulate them.
Sometimes you got to check people.
No,
but the thing is that afterwards, I had to check myself because I'm not like a confrontational person. I'm very diplomatic. However, I'm still a man in it, so... There's levels.
Pride and ego.
So for me is that I had to reflect and think, wow, why did I get so like
worked up
about that?
Yeah.
No, there was no harm to me. There was no harm to the vehicle or whatever. Do you know what I mean? But I still reacted. I reacted to a point where I could have definitely done something.
But do you think that is because that single incident, or do you think it's an accumulation of things, and that was the straw that got the chemical?
Because on that day as well. So I apologize if you listen to this, but I reversed into a lady in a BMW yesterday. So I've been through all this stuff going on in a year or whatever. I'm doing this thing that I'm doing right now that you guys know about. I don't really want to be doing. And then yesterday, reversed into a BMW, then get home, and then that situation happened. I'm like, what's going on here? But to go back to what Leo said about sweeping things under the carpet, maybe because I've been doing that,
that was
there was the potential of me, that was my outlet in that moment.
So let me interject real quick, right? I want to make this a little bit more personal.
Go on.
I want to make it a little bit more personal. So how... You really kind of disclosed yours. You said, you know, when you encounter an issue, more time out of 10, it's almost like technically a sweep it under the rug, and
somewhat, yeah.
And we keep it moving. It's like it's almost like you know how as young men, young-ish, we're getting on now, but still, as young men, where we've been grown up and we've been taught to. We plug on, you know what I'm saying? You bang the table, you keep shit moving, you don't let shit hold you down, you keep going forward. But is that healthy? And from my perspective, I'm saying no. But my question is, making it a little bit more personal, is how do you deal with situations that affect you in a big way? So, Marlon, you kind of alluded to how you would.
I don't think that I deal with stuff, really. Like, I feel like for me, a situation might happen. So, for example, lost my job, that situation is not really a big deal. But then you tie it in with the pandemic, and again, there's millions of people out there with no job or whatever, and good luck to you. But with that, it's a case of, all right, cool. My next step for that is find a new job. Yeah. Not like understand, like, okay, cool, what's out there, what's the likelihood of me getting a new job, going through the process. It's just like, need a new job, need an income, need a routine. But then the struggle to then get to that next step, which doesn't come or yet, is not the struggle, but that's the pain point. Yeah. At what point, like you were saying, there's one issue that happens and another issue that happens, another issue that happens. Let's say that I don't get a job until next year. Yeah. Or the year after that.
So let me I just want to dive into that. So the question is, do you deal with the things that you experience? Or
I feel like I do mentally, but then when things happen, like yesterday, it tells me that maybe not.
What I got from what you said is that you deal with things by moving on to the next thing, or by
after I process it.
So you kind of process it and then think, okay, I got to do this, and that will get me out of it, or I got to do this. So you're progressively thinking beyond your situation to help you get out of it. Correct?
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Okay.
So I would say that. But that's probably not healing. That's probably
moving.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say that I'm in pain from things from before. It's more of a case where I think I have blockers. Like, I could mention another situation, but I'll mention it anyway because we're on a podcast. So my dad, who I don't have a relationship with for different reasons, he is 60 something, and just like a month ago announced he's having another kid. So he's having a son, So he's got 7 kids, including me already.
60 something.
No, I think he's 59, 60, something like that.
Strong genes,
you know what I'm saying?
No, but stop it. But what I'm saying is, obviously, so I'm being all the way out there, and this is therapeutic.
Yeah.
But
let it out.
My brother's in jail. Yeah. My dad I don't speak to, and there's 4 boys amongst us, and then this new baby that's coming along, but none of us chat to him. So when this information's landed through his ex-wife, who I'm very close to still, that information goes over my head because I'm just like, another one. Yeah. But my brother who's in jail, his birthday 2 days ago, happy birthday, if he heard that story now, the last time that my dad wrote to him was 16 years ago, when the other kid was born. And the first thing he said to him was, got a new baby on the way, da-da-da. That's the last time we heard from him. So his mum, I was having a conversation with the other day, my brother in jail's mum, and she said, don't tell him about it because the last time that you heard from your dad was that. So if the next time he hears from your dad is that, he's going to probably do something mad and whatever. The reason why I mention all that is because those situations to me, because I've dealt with them in the last 33 years, they kind of go over my head. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, how something affects me will affect or could affect someone else 10 times as bad. But then you tie that in with the job situation, the pandemic, ex-girlfriends, losing the car, they're minor things, like they're first world problems, but they're still right. So then it's a case where what's your outlet? Yeah. If you're not, I don't sit here and have conversations often.
Same, yeah.
But we maybe should. Not even we should. Because I feel like this is probably the best way for men to be vulnerable, as opposed to I earn 100k and I drive a BMW and but really cool. That's the flashy stuff.
Nothing wrong with BMWs, by the way.
But underneath that, what's going on?
I'm exactly the same as you. So when I was setting up my restaurant, so obviously I'd saved some money and whatever.
What's the name of the restaurant?
Purifino.
Oh yeah.
Where's you know them ones there. You know them ones there. Plug.
Say it one time,
no social media.
We'll plug it underneath the. But yeah, so when I was saving for that, so obviously I had a chip shop before. I sold the chip shop. I had some money from there. Yeah. I had a pound shop, like a discount store. Yeah. Got rid of that. Had some money from there. I went into this
new venture.
Almost blind. I knew food from the chip shop. I didn't know. I thought I knew way more than what I knew. I thought I understood costs. I didn't. Bro, the cost skyrocketed. Went mad, and I was like. It got to a point where I had nothing. I was halfway through the project and I was thinking,
can I afford this?
Yeah, I'm not going to finish it. I've already told people I'm doing it. So literally I'm going to have the kind of, in my eyes, I'm going to have the shame of turning around to people saying, yo.
It's like accountability.
I thought I was a big businessman and I couldn't even finish the project. I couldn't even get off the ground. Yeah. But I had to just dig in. I had to just go. And you know me, I'm out all the time, pub, everything. Yeah. I had to lock it. I had to lock everything off. To allow buying trainers or anything man. I had to say. I know they're it's minor things, but it's still things you do. I had to just lock everything off and say, you know what, I'm just going to put my head down and get this graft and go there, do all the painting myself, do as much DIY as I can do without fucking electrocute myself or something which I kind of had to grind it out. And I got there in the end, but then I had the double effect is, okay, I've got there, I've opened, I'm in this much debt, now I'm going to try and turn a profit. So I went through at least, I'd say it took me 9 months to make it. Then it took me at least another 5-6 months to turn a profit. So I'm talking about a year and a bit where I was just in the worst state ever, but you never would have thought it. You came and spoke to me.
And this is the thing.
So now watch this.
But this is the thing, right, is that we're all boys and we never heard that story before.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the vulnerability in us wouldn't allow us.
I used to go home and then because it's on your mind, I couldn't sleep. So I used to fall asleep at 4 a.m. I was back up at like 8.
It's mad.
Straight back there.
So I can relate to that in a big way. But what I will say, before I say what I will say, so I can say what I was going to say, is what I've heard from you two, is that, what Leo said, is that you both deal with something you're going through by just plugging on, carrying on going, finding the next target. And I can relate to that. But to answer Leo's question, how what's helped me deal with things, and again, you lot know I talk about my mum all the time.
Yeah, of course.
My mum has plugged into me, my brother, some time, use each other. Yeah, your family is your rock. No matter who you've got around you, your family is who you go to. So it never really hit me till a few years ago when I had my own barbershop, and that was a whole new project to me, like yourself. It's a whole nother world. So through that experience, it woke me up to a lot of stuff I've never dealt with or experienced before. And them times there, I met a girl, obviously, you got deep in that. So I'm going through a lot of emotion, energy, vibes, was everything. Every kind of emotion you can think of, I was going through it. Long story short, it got to the point where I found power in vulnerability with my brothers and my mum. So from that point, every issue, every drama, every trauma, everything that I don't know what to do or I can't solve, I'm going to my brothers. I'm going to my mum. Do you see what I'm saying? Because I've got safety and comfort not knowing how to deal with it because they're around me.
That makes
and
sense.
Together, we crack this. We've never had an issue in my family in terms of me, my brothers, and my mum that we've never dealt with. Do you see what I'm saying?
What's the phrase that your mum?
Iron sharpens iron.
That's it.
Do you know what? That's for real. Shout out to Jay's mum and that. You know what I'm saying?
It's real.
Do you know
They're
what?
my anchor.
Do you know what?
Mum, love you, brothers. Enough love.
Do you know what's massive about that, and what shouts out to me is like asking that question, right? So you both gave two similar answers in essence, and then obviously you said you can appreciate that, and there's elements of you that will almost do the same thing, but you found power in communication, in being vulnerable around the people that are close to you. So the question is, how many people really do we feel we have that we can be vulnerable around to the extent that you're prepared to let your realest and truest feelings be laid out on the table?
It's them, you know. I've got just to, before you go, real quick, I've got my mum and my brothers, and I've got like 2 circles of friends, who I can talk to anything, and you man are them people. When my dad passed away, I called you lot the next day. Probably the same day I found out. I think it was the same day.
I remember.
Do you see what I'm saying?
But check this, and the reason why I want to touch on what you just said is because if you go through your phone book, how many groups you get? I'm probably in
WhatsApp
5, 6, 7 groups. I don't know. But there's people in those groups that like we know each other from how many years ago. But I've got probably 2 other groups where it's the same situation. And there's 2 groups that like my boys, and there's others where they're my boys, but I don't feel like it's story I just told, for example.
I understand. They
wouldn't know that, and I wouldn't really call them, and not to say because we're not close, but I wouldn't call them and say I'm going through this situation. Because whilst I can, like it's open forum to do so. I wouldn't because we don't have that. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I could call Leo and be like, bruv, you know what? Like this girl's just doing my head in. Do you know what I mean? Like could be that, and he'll be like, bruv, you know what? Calm down, like think.
Do you know what though? Me and my brother speak about this all the time. People need to be able to identify your circle, your social circles.
100,
Because there's a phrase, I can't remember what the phrase is, but you got terms like confidence, confidants, and then something else. So in this particular circle, you know that type of circle you can release certain things to.
It's not what you're getting from whoever it is you're
and
seeking.
Then you got another outer circle who you know you're cool with, but you're not really that deep with.
I hear that.
So you got to know your social circles.
Breaking that down into, it's like knowing your raving people, knowing the people that you can talk to on a level, knowing who you want to be intellectual with, knowing who you're going to talk about job interviews with.
I've got a question I want to ask you lot, but I want you to answer your own question. Like, how do you deal with your stuff?
Do you know what? I'm glad you did that, you know. Because, not for any particular reason, but obviously you asked the question, we all answered, but we didn't get answers from you.
I was always going to bring it back.
To
What's
be honest,
your outlet, or who's your outlet?
I would probably, it's almost a merger of all 3 of you, to be honest. Like, for me, my it's almost like my right-hand man is a woman, and that's my mum.
Of course.
Like, from
shout out to mum.
Yeah, for real, man. From day one, I feel like there's certain life lessons that we've been taught, especially as people from cultured families where we've got certain, values and morals that are instilled in us. And I think one of the bad ones is from the male side of things is that we're taught you plug on, you don't deal with your emotion in a way that it comes across as effeminate, and the effeminate understanding is crying or being down for too long, and and do you know what I'm saying? And even being talkative, you hold that shit in and you keep it moving. But unfortunately, that's an old school mentality, and I feel like a lot of people nowadays have wisened up to the fact that especially with the whole mental health movement, and I think we're gonna get onto the topic of that on a later date. But I think with that being the case, I feel like that has been quite a detriment to me personally, because I know my mindset works in a way where it's like, all right, if something affects you, fuck it. You keep plugging on. Do
you deal with it mentally first, though, or do you just
carry on? Historically, like, so let me give you a little bit of a transition. So I'd say maybe in my younger years, it was ignore it, keep moving. I think now, being in a more mature mindset, I think I'm also conscious of what I do to put myself in some of those situations. So I think a lot of people don't hold themselves accountable for situations that they're in. So 100. I don't necessarily say,
that's a good point, man.
I'm in this situation, it's this person's fault. That's the reason why it happened. But I've questioned myself. I say, how did I get to this point? I remember, right? And I don't want to delve too long on it, but remember uni days, right? Back in uni, and I remember I moved out into a flat on my own. This is
after third year.
And I stayed for a piece because I had a girl at the time, whatever. Anyway, so I'm in.
I don't even say still. Carry on.
So these times now, I just remember I'm working 2 jobs. And I'm paying my rent, I'm paying bills, I'm this, I'm that, and I'm just thinking, I got my own place, I've got Sky, all the men them coming around my yard watching football, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, I've got the pre-drink spot, whatever, where everybody's vibes and everybody's, you know what I'm saying? So these times now, it's almost like I'm holding up a facade of wanting
being
to
the
do
go-to.
But really these times I'm working 2 jobs and man's struggling.
I'm tired.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm tired.
You know what I'm saying? So obviously these times now, it gets to a situation where one of the jobs I have to quit. So I've got way less income.
But you're still maintaining that.
I'm still maintaining that facade. So I'm getting myself into debt. I ain't paying bills, and motherfuckers is coming down, knocking on the door. So long and short is I got myself out of the situation, but what I did was ignored it. I ignored the letters, I ignored this, I ignored that, and my ultimate point is the only way to deal with something is you face it head on. And what I did was I made sure I set up, I phoned him, I said, look, I can't afford to pay it, but what I'm gonna do is I'll pay you X, Y, and Z per month to get this done. Blah, blah, blah. Once I've left uni, blah, 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 obviously the situations them are done now.
Of course,
So it's about...
You had the place where everyone went to play PlayStation and drink up and whatever. But of all the man that was there, couldn't chat to none of them.
This is the point. More time
everyone's all jovial and laughing and getting mashed up, but couldn't chat to none of them.
And obviously there were certain situations I'm not even going to go into too tough that your people are who you can, you know what I'm saying, who you can rely on. Innit? And there's certain situations where if you think about it, it applies in life as well. So let's go back to the topic at hand, which is, thinking about who you can call on, who you can talk to.
So that being said, and after I say this, we can take it from anywhere we want to go after that. But would you go therapy?
Yeah, I nearly did.
Yeah? But moving forward now, would you go again?
100%. The only struggle that I found,
in that as well.
So I know it's a quick question, but the only thing I found was, and I'll ask the question. So when I was looking through the list of who to pick and whatever, my criteria of who I'd want to speak to, because I'm a young black man, I want to speak to someone from a similar culture to me. Yeah, so I was trying to find, I don't know why, maybe it's similar to Leo in terms of like my right-hand man is a woman, i.e. my mum, and my mum just, like for all of us, innit? So I wanted to find another black woman who I could speak to, A, for culture, B, maybe because it's the comfort of the fact that she's like a woman, she could be similar to my mum, like that kind of thing. But the struggle that I had was, how do you decipher like who you want to speak to? And also it's like when you actually do look at the kind of directory of therapists in your area, what their qualifications are.
What you could do is, if you know anyone that's used a therapist before, get a referral maybe. Start with someone that you know.
I agree.
But it could be tailored for that person.
Right.
Yeah, I get you.
Right.
But you definitely would. What about you, man? Would you mind go therapy?
I don't know. I've got nothing against going. The reason I wouldn't go is because I know how my head works. I'd tell them what I know they want to hear.
I hear that.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I know it's the way I'm programmed. Like I'd sit there.
Would you not try and be fully vulnerable?
Nah, I know how I'm programmed. It wouldn't come out. I know how. I got more chance of telling you.
But you know what?
than
You say that, but then that's us on this side of the table. If a therapist is there, she or he will ask the right questions to trigger.
I'm not opposed to going, but I know it'd take them a while. Like it'd take me
to break you down
3-4 sessions or like however long it is for them to actually.
They'd see through it though.
See through it.
But truth be told, look, I'm not being funny, but even sitting with each of you, man, there's certain things that there's probably that will never come out of my mouth because and the reason why is because, and I think it's the same for all of us, and I think the reason why is because there's a level of vulnerability that everybody is prepared to put
to reach.
But
there's strength in vulnerability though.
100%.
But also, I would also say if you go therapy, I believe, I don't know, I've never been, but I would go.
Me too. It's just for the record, but
I also believe, even though you can go therapy on a general thing, more time I believe is something specific. Do you see what I'm saying? For example, you just lost your business.
For a particular
COVID.
reason. Okay.
How can I bounce back?
Sure.
Therapy.
Yeah.
You're not going to go there and talk about your life story unless it's relevant to the topic in hand.
You say that.
I know some people go for chat and to talk their talk or whatever. I just think if you're going to go therapy, it's because of a particular issue.
I would agree with you. However, I feel like, so when I said I was looking into it a couple of months ago and I actually set up a session, and apologies if you're watching, but I didn't go to it in the end. Just because in that moment, I was like, I'm going through it. Let me just see if I can get a therapist. And then I found one, contacted, whatever, set a date. But then when the date come, I was fine. Not fine, but like I didn't have that stress anymore. So I just was like, it's fine. But that's probably the issue with most people. Like we were saying about sweeping things under the carpet, is that an issue happens, in that moment there's an emotion there, there's a stress there, and then 3-4 days later you feel fine again. So then you don't really feel like you're going through it because the moment is past.
Yeah, you see why it would be hard for me to go to a therapist. Not because I've got any ego about going, it's because obviously running a business, my day-to-day life, I'm used to talking to people in a certain code because you give away a bit but not enough. So my mentality walking in there at first, until obviously I got broken down or whatever, but would be, I'm not going to give you what you want. I can dance around a topic all day.
Yeah, of course.
Every day. I dance around you all day. But
we're all articulate.
It's to take you to a world to break. But it could easily happen because once I get talking, I can easily get emotional.
And like Marlon said,
just getting me to that point.
And like Marlon said, the beautiful thing about a therapist is they ask the right questions. And what I'm going to ask something, and we can conclude at this point, is we just go around, and what I think we should do is just, for example, Leo, what would you tell people who's going through something traumatic? What advice would you give them? You know, we're not professionals or nothing, but from a human perspective, what would you tell someone if they're going through something deep?
I'd say talk to somebody who's near and dear. Talk to someone you feel like you can confide in. Don't keep it in. I would say make sure you're, acknowledge it. Don't hide from it. It's like the bill situation. The more you hide from something, it ain't going nowhere. It's just going to keep coming back and coming back. You might not see another, like a bill for a while. It ain't going to come for a minute, but then another one's going to come, then the stress is there again. So it's just about making sure, you deal with it. That's what I'd say.
Sunni, what are you saying? How would you help someone?
I think the way I'd say to go about it is the same way I go about things in business and everyday life. I just I'll write a list. So for example, say, this is broken, that needs fixing, this needs renewing. I'll write a list, and underneath it, I'll leave a space. I'll write exactly what I need to do to solve this. So, for example, the oven's broken. I like that one. So I'll write phone rationale, who the oven manufacturer is, phone rationale, get a service man booked in, confirm date, then move on to the next one. Okay.
So like goal and action sort of thing.
Very logistical.
We're running low on chicken. Okay, call the chicken supplier, see if I can get any delivery. When's it going to come?
Well, that was funny to me.
Do you know what I mean? Like, but that's what it is, isn't it? That's what we sell. But I'm saying, like, I methodically go through everything, and I'm like, how I'm going to deal with it. Because I can lie in my bed at night and think, I need to do this, but I haven't.
That list is going to be there every day.
I haven't thought, no way, do it. And then that's it. Go wake up in the morning early and start ticking it.
100.
Yeah, man. Marlon, what advice would you give someone?
For me, it's I just think talking is powerful, man. It's more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, but not many of us are brave enough to do it. And when I say talking, I don't just mean just having a chat with your boys. I mean like calling up someone and saying, listen, I'm not alright. Like, what's the Jessie J tune? It's okay not to be okay, or whatever it is. And that's real. That's 100% real. And I keep saying it. There's strength and vulnerability. And the more you're vulnerable, I'm not saying walk around and be a pussy about it, but you can be vulnerable and still be strong and be macho and be a man and whatever. or whatever your definition of a man would be. But
macho is all about ego though, and ego can get you into a lot of problems.
That's a whole different.
But yeah, for real.
We'll have to touch on that still. But for me, I'd just say talk about you.
For me, just to wrap up, a bit of everything. First of all, acknowledge it. Yeah, be aware that you're going through something, because some people ain't even aware of it. They just keep going like, why am I feeling away? Acknowledge how you feel about whatever it is that's making you feel like that.
I hear that.
Secondly, again, like everybody said, I believe, find one person to talk to, even if it's just to let it off. Yeah. Secondly, similar to Sunni, I'll write my stuff down. I've got a to-do list for days. Do you see what I'm saying?
You have to.
So I'll break down what it is that's made you feel like that, how you feel about it, and what you'd like to change. That starts to give you a plan and a goal. And I feel this is something I tell all the guys in the barbershop as well. Anytime you're going through something, feel it, but then give yourself a goal, because that gives you a focus. You see what I'm saying? 100%. That you can channel your energy into from your current state to your future state. Yeah. I like that being said, like and subscribe the thing.
Don't know the thing.
Yeah. And
all right, cool.
Catch everyone in the